UNPAVED, Sean Salisbury here to bring an authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, a great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.
To me, Tom Brady is the GOAT because he's done more with less than any player at that position we've ever had.
All right, guys, welcome in. Now, there's no teleprompter in here. When Segs and I come on here, I'm Sean, and you give me a Sean Unfiltered. Adam Sager, Adam G. Sager will be along shortly. You know, we come on here and we pretty much, empty the bucket and tell you how we feel with passion and cover a little bit of everything, and we love it. And whether you disagree or not, that's cool. We love you guys too, and that's part and parcel of why this thing works, because everybody's not on the same page, but they are, which is, I think, makes for great banter. And which I think is, I think it's the best podcast and on its way to being in the country. Once people, that brand awareness, right? All right. But there's also common sense in the world, or lack thereof. I can't, okay? I want you to listen to something. Now, here we are, because politics and sports sometimes intersect, like women and men playing in women's sports. Supreme Court hearings going on, trying to get men out of women's sports. And allow women what they fought for a long time. Chance to make money, chance to have scholarship, and to really be recognized for the great stuff they're doing, women playing women. Now, I don't care who you voted for 100 years ago or now. I really don't. I know what I have and proudly and proud of it. But we're never 100% sure on either side of who we voted for is right. You're hoping part of it. You do your research and you vet everything and hope, right? And you just roll with it. I think a lot of times you like to roll science work sometimes. Sometimes they lie on the science too. Common sense, which we don't have enough of. We should hire somebody who is programmed, get Elon Musk on something to invent something that you could take a pill and all of a sudden common sense rears its head, all right? Which we can now have a fat pill, so why can't we have a common sense pill? But Elon, just a thought, with all your intelligence and all that money, that would be great, because a lot of people, especially the people I'm about to point out, need it. You cannot, regardless, honestly be real and tell me, do you think men can get pregnant? I don't care. I don't care if you hate the president, love him. I don't care about your background. I don't. I honestly don't. I really do need to allow you to hear this video and tell me this can't be real, right? You feel like you're looking at a Saturday Night Live skit. It's 2 minutes long. I want you to pay attention if you haven't. No matter who you voted for or what you think. Forget even men and women's sports. It's a real simple question that an expert was brought in by the folks who encourage the Supreme Court to allow men to play in women's sports. This is just a senator asking a very simple question.
Go that science and evidence should control, not politics. So let's just test that proposition. Can men get pregnant?
I take care of people with many identities, but
can men get pregnant?
Many women that can get pregnant. I do take care of people that don't identify as women. That
can men get pregnant?
Again, as I'm saying,
let me just remind you what you testified to a moment ago. Science and evidence should control, not politics. So can men get pregnant? You're a doctor, I think.
Science and evidence should guide medicine.
Do science and evidence tell us that men can get pregnant? Biological men, can they get pregnant?
I also think yes/no questions like this are a political tool. And
no, yes/no questions are about the truth, doctor. Let's not make a mockery of this proceeding. This is about science and evidence, and I'm asking you. You know, the United States Supreme Court just heard arguments yesterday at great length on this question. This is not a hypothetical question. This is not theoretical. It affects real people in their real lives. And you're here as an expert, called by the other side as an expert. And you've been telling us that you follow, right, you're a doctor, and you follow the science and the evidence. So I just want to know, based on the science, can men get pregnant? That's a yes or no question. It really is, I think.
I think you're trying to reduce the complexity of a lot.
I'm not. I'm trying to get, it's not complex. I'm trying to get to an answer, and I'm trying to test, frankly, your veracity as a medical professional and as a scientist. Can men get pregnant?
I think you're also conflating
This is
male
extraordinary.
female with
No, I'm not conflating male and female. They're two different things. There's biological men and there's biological women. And I want to know, can men get pregnant?
what you were talking about is biological.
You're not going to answer my question, it sounds like to me.
Biological males.
This isn't hard, doctor. Can men get pregnant? Yes or no?
Again, I would be more than happy to have a conversation with you that is not coming from a place of trying to be polarized and push.
I'm not trying to be polarizing. I'm trying to ask, I think it is extraordinary that we are here in a hearing about science and about women. And for the record, it's women who get pregnant, not men.
Okay. When I watch this, and Lucy, you hit it perfect. This woman's insufferable. This is a doctor who's supposed to be an expert witness for the side for men and women's sports. It wouldn't matter if President Trump or Senator Hawley asked it, or Kamala Harris or anybody else. It's a pretty simple question that you'd probably get asked every day. Whether you have disdain for Josh Hawley or Dr. Verma or Republicans, conservatives, Democrats, liberals, whatever it is. I just want you to look at this. He didn't ask her, can men have a vagina? Do men have fallopian tubes, to offend anybody? He simply asked a question that, well, we're allowed books in school, or we have been in the past, that talk about transgender and all this, and preach sex to kids that's 3, and parents raising their kids to addictomy. That surgery? Yeah, you've heard of that one. Yeah, they preach that to kids that they're prepared at 4 to discuss this. He didn't ask any of that. He simply asked a respectful question to a woman who's an expert, supposedly. She's a quack, obviously. She's fucking clueless. And so are you, any of us, that think there's a reason she didn't answer it in 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Because she knows she put herself in the corner of knowing that I cannot defend this. This is just pure logic from the start of time to now. Men can't get pregnant. He didn't even ask the question, should men play in women's sports? Is the biological difference in strength and all that, is it fair? He simply asked, can men get pregnant? She couldn't answer. There's your answer. If this isn't unanimous, done, out, all the way, it's wrong. We already know that men should never play in women's sports. And I hear like Megan Rapinoe and other people that preached for years, as most of us did. Women deserve better coverage, more pay, more brand awareness, more times on TV, and they deserve the same opportunity in their sport to go win a gold medal against their women, the same people that were biologically born the way. Now, you can be different, but you're born a man, born a woman. I can't change it. You can't get pregnant as a man. You just can't. So whatever you identify, this isn't even identification. This is simple fact. And he didn't even ask, do men have an advantage? Of course they do. Now, shooting at the free throw line, they may not, because I don't want to. I'm not competing against Diana Taurasi at the free throw line. Get your ass kicked, but that's not how we play the game. So I'm just trying to figure out, when they're saying that they preached for equal rights for women, the Megan Rapinoes of the world, just using her because she's been outspoken, and turn right around because they want equal rights for women, and turn right around a year or 2 or 3 years later when men are in their sport and they pander to the other side, saying men should be able to play against women. But they want women to have the same equal opportunity that men had. Now the men are coming in and taking those away, not allowing you to win your gold medal, not allowing you to get the last scholarship that was available. It was given to a man, but not you. And we're recognizing that. I'm not celebrating any man who plays against women in high school or college or in the Olympics. He doesn't deserve celebration. He got his ass kicked enough times. Now he's coming over there to capitalize. Identify whatever you want. I don't have to call you by your pronouns. I don't have to call you by thee, they. If I don't want to, I'll call you by your name, because that's what it is. And that's where I'm always going to live. Respect. If not, I just won't call you anything. But when you do come on and you're an expert and you can't answer if men can get pregnant, That's all the answer you need to know. So all you pining for men, not on here, anywhere, pining for men to be able to play against women, you're wrong. It's sick, demented, and you're out of your fucking mind. Women deserve better. They deserve to compete against their own for scholarships, life-changing moments, and the celebration of it. Don't speak out of both sides of your mouth telling me women deserve equal, which they do, and then come right back and say, hey, but men should be allowed to compete against them. No, they shouldn't. And oh, by the way, Dr. Verma, whatever it is, you should have never been able to get a license if you can't answer that question. Expert witness, you're a quack, and you just basically killed the case of your people on the other side, meaning that believe men should play in women's sports. Why? Because you couldn't answer the simple question is, can men get pregnant? And if you're somebody who thinks they can, then you're more fucked up than we thought. If you're somebody who thinks they can't but want men playing in women's sports, we can debate that as to why. But the simple question is, can men get pregnant? And the simple answer, and you don't have to go get a college degree or be a doctorate or go through all your rotations like this clown, this quack, and look at him and say, I think you're trying to politicize it. No, you can be a political idiot and know that men cannot get pregnant. And I'll even take it a step further. Men should never be allowed to play in women's sports. Not now and not ever. Going to bring Sags in, but real quick, let me just tell you about my friends at Augusta Precious Metals. Speaking of somebody who gets it and understands, it's Augusta Precious Metals. 8 p.m. You can hit the link in the description below or text Sean, SEAN, to 35052. Now, I know I still do, not as much. Stare at the ceiling at night, wondering what your day is going to be like, wondering where your money is. Are you secure? You're 20 years from retirement. Am I doing the right things? We asked that about it, raising your kids right. All these things that we put priority to and do our due diligence and get educated on. How to be a parent, even though there's no book. How to vet a company, or whatever it is, how to go through an interview, how to interview somebody, whatever it is. Are you doing that with your money? Are you doing that with precious metals and gold? I think a lot of times it's our ignorance to precious metals. It was for me. I was like, we start throwing it into other categories that are like, it's high risk. What's riskier now? The buck that you think is going to be worth more in 20 years when you retire, or gold? Just go do the dude. That'd be like telling me that gold's not on the rise and isn't making a difference would be you telling me that men can get pregnant. No, things go up. No guarantee in life. But I can tell you one thing right now. I do know this, that gold's headed this way, and we're $40 trillion in debt damn near in this country, caused by a lot of people, and it's going to affect you and it's going to affect me. So do you want confidence in retirement, or do you want Washington, D.C. to control everything you do? Gold, precious metals, tangible assets. Keep it your home, keep it your safe, keep with it, whatever it is you want to do. It's important. Go educate yourself. Go to Augusta Precious Metals. Visit them, AugustaPreciousMetals.com. Text Sean 35052 and go in education, a simple guide to tell you what Augusta Precious Metals wants. They want you to be prepared, excited, relaxed, peace of mind, and confident, not only in your financial career, but for your family moving forward. So when you're staring at the ceiling, you see bars of gold jumping and saying, man, was I smart, I wasn't late to the party. It's never too late to get in on something that's bringing great value and confidence to you. It's Augusta Precious Metals. That's Augusta Precious Metals. Segs, I'll ask you this, Dr. Sager. I'm going to prove to the world that you don't need a degree to answer this.
Okay.
And Adam G. Sager, co-host, Adam G. Sager on Twitter. Can men get pregnant? You're a man, Segs. Those kids you have, did you bear them?
No.
Could you get pregnant?
No.
Okay.
I am unable as a male to get pregnant. And I believe, because I am a doctor, that every other male like me cannot get pregnant.
Even if I tried to immerse fallopian tubes into your system, you cannot get pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Whatever that means, or your vulva bone, I don't know. I just know this, you can't get pregnant, right? You can be 4 and realize you can't get pregnant as a male. Is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Supreme Court, I just want to look at you and say, this is the expert for the other side answered a doctor science question. Men can't get pregnant, so we can end these proceedings right now and quit boring us with the bullshit. And one other thing on your way out, Dr. Sager, should men be able to play women's sports?
No.
Well, proceedings over. Thank you. We can move on. And Supreme
It's
Court.
the same answer
Appreciate
for
you.
both, and the answer is no. I mean, it's
There you
just
go.
plain and
Pretty simple,
and
right,
easy.
Dr. Sager?
Yep.
Okay. Well,
No.
doctor these nuts and let's get rolling on now, okay?
Yeah, I don't.
You
First
ready?
of all, I don't know how that congressman doesn't just stand up and throw a chair at that
Dude.
lady. Anybody who's sitting there and just doing that and talking around the answer, like I would lose my fucking mind.
Steggs, watching it, I said, watching it, I said, well, I don't want you to politicize. It seems like we'll go have a conversation. Conversation, kiss my ass. I can't even have one with you here.
Answer the
You're too
goddamn
dumb. Right. It's a question. Well, it's
throwing
political.
water bottles
No,
and
it's really
stuff at
not.
him.
I didn't ask if you wanted men to play in women's sports or if you were liberal or if you were conservative. I just simply asked, can men get pregnant? Like if I walked into a doctor here, say, just walked in and say, by the way, Dr. Jones, can men get pregnant? No, they absolutely can't. But you know what? Most of them are on head on a swivel. Like, is there a can? Well, what if I say they can, then I screw up the other side? The bottom line is it's fact.
Yes.
Is there an ocean on the west side of the ground California? Is there a Pacific Ocean, Sakes? There is.
Yes.
There's a Pacific Ocean.
It is there.
Is there a White House in D.C.?
Correct. Yes, there is.
Okay. So are we sitting here on this broadcast right now live? That's fact, right?
Yes. Yes, we are live.
Can men get pregnant?
No. No.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Yes.
So on we go. We have settled the fact that men can't get pregnant, and they sure as shit don't belong taking away a gold medal from a woman that worked so hard to have it. And if you are a female that pined for equal rights, deservedly so, I get it. You can't turn around and tell me that men should be playing women's sports because your argument then, the original one, goes right out the window.
Exactly.
Pretty simple. It's not, you know what? You actually don't have to have any degree. You can have a quack degree like Dr. Verma and answer that question.
Well,
just like the Giants are going to answer their question
yes.
soon too, aren't they, Sakes?
The New York Giants have selected their head coach. It is John Harbaugh. He also is unable to have children.
Yes. Oh, no. He can have children, but as long as his wife.
He can't bear children.
Right. He cannot bear children. I don't think he has a fallopian tube.
Yes.
From my knowledge.
Birth children.
There you go.
5 years, $100 million. So he's getting paid. Todd Monken will be the OC. He's going to have youngsters like Jackson Dart at quarterback, Cam Scatteraboo coming back from his injury like Jackson Dart is, Malik Neighbors coming back from the ACL. That gives him 3 really good weapons. He got a couple good offensive linemen. He's got 3 edge rushers and Abdul Carter and Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns, who gives you some just juice on that defensive line. And if there's somewhere you want to start building a defense, it's with 3 freaking really good pass rushers. And if you want, you can trade one of them for more draft assets if you want this offseason. So I ask you, with everything I just brought up, but Joe Shane remains in the GM role. Do you like this decision by John Harbaugh to really not even go meet with anybody? He talked to other teams on the phone, did some Zoom calls, but never went into anyone else's building. Was supposed to be, I believe, in Tennessee today. Do you like the decision by John Harbaugh to sign this deal and become the next head coach of the New York Giants?
Segs, do I think there's other organizations that might be a little less chaotic right now? Tennessee's not chaotic. Tennessee just sucks right now, right? But and it's Nashville, and it's not New York. I mean, put it this way, you'd be walking into, I don't want to say casual, but a little bit more without this organized chaos, because no, everybody knows this isn't a bad thing. When you go to Boston or Philly or New York, the passion of fans and the media, and there's just, it hits different. And so you're going into the Hornets' nest, but the Hornets can be stinging somebody else as opposed to you if you just do it right and win and don't make excuses. That's what I do love about that part of the country. They don't want a lot of small talk bullshit. They just want you to win. And sometimes they're irrational, aren't we all? I think it is a good decision, Segs. I didn't know if he'd choose the Giants because of all that, but the fact that he didn't go into other buildings tells me, Segs, when he was out, that he kind of already knew, because you're watching other teams and the way organizations work, right, Segs? You're looking at young talent. You just are. Your pro personnel guy does all the time and thinking, okay, now that I'm fired, immediately your first thought goes to what's next? And everybody's answering the question for you. Here's 7 other teams we want you to interview with. But when you look at the young trio, who's better that's open? Now, Miami, we don't even know what's going to happen there. Tennessee's got potential, but they're young trios that even if they don't even have a trio, even a young one to grow with. You've got a guy who can be a dominant receiver. I think a next level quarterback that in truth Segs, he's not Lamar Jackson, but his game is similar.
Mm-hmm.
Explosive. He's good on, he's not as good a pure runner and make you miss guys that, but he's probably a better pure passer, at least when he came in, than Lamar was to now. I'm talking about when he was young, right? So you're getting, I think, they'll spend. And my guess is that John had the meeting with the GM and said, and was able to know, you're not taking the gig unless you've had an in-depth conversation about philosophy with that guy. And I would also imagine in this, somehow it's going to come out, Segs, that John Harbaugh isn't going to be just looking at the groceries in the cupboard. He's going to get an opportunity to help decide that. Because I don't think you'd take the job saying, I'm just coaching and doing this, because he's already been through that in a great front office in Boulder. See, John has high expectations because in truth, there's about 3 front offices that have been at the top of the list for 2 decades. Baltimore's been one of them. Bashotti's phenomenal. The front office has been great. The head coach, continuity and consistency. And when Ozzie Newsome left, guess who took over? A man in the building in the front of. So they've done it right. John's used to that. So maybe he can actually help bring that stability. He's taking some coaches with him. So it's a great hire. I'm going to say something that may sound hyperbolic. This will be the least amount of chaos as it's not going to happen next year, but they'll roll through this. Remember when Joe Flacco, they got a Super Bowl and Flacco was retiring. They didn't know what the transition said. Didn't take long because Baltimore had a great front office and players. Right. But dare I say that this will be the most buttoned up the Giants have ever been since Bill Parcells was the head coach. I don't know if they're going to win a Super Bowl anytime soon, but every year when the Giants name comes up, Brian Dable's a good coach. Hell, I was thinking about Brian Dable getting a chance to go coach somewhere else as a coordinator. I'd interview him in 2 seconds flat, and Kafka's good too. But the whole front office, organization, how we do things, what we're going to do, our commitment to this, I don't think you're going to have more stability, maybe a better word, than you had, and it will be done a little different, but that you've had in New York, the consistency of who was after Parcells? Who was the head coach? Tom Coughlin. Those two, and I put in Coughlin and because they won Super Bowls with Tom, and he was similar to Parcells.
But even that was still a lot of chaos with Plaxico.
Yes, tons of chaos.
And, a lot of stuff going on there.
But they had great continuity. Spags as a defensive coordinator, Strahan, and the felt they were and a franchise type quarterback who was tough and had durability, which is something that Jackson Dart's going to have to make sure. If there's anything he takes from Eli Manning, of all the talk and football IQ and all that, I'm begging one thing he takes, please, and I don't know if I can beg this on him, is be as durable as Eli Manning and your career will be special. So and when I met Parcells, I met that Parcells, Tom Coughlin attitude of organization, but you're right, Segs. Oh, remember Tom went through, should we fire him? Making guys wear certain socks and be in here and take all those things that went with this one. And Tom loosened the reins a little, but kept discipline. And look what happened. Win Super Bowls, disrupt the undefeated season by the Patriots. So I'm talking about that era of the crossover there. There's been some good ones and coaches that have come in and teased you but haven't been able to withstand it. This will be the most disciplined, organized, lack of chaos, if we can even get any lack of chaos in pro sports, and continuity that this organization's had since they were beating the Patriots in the Super Bowl. That's how I feel. Great hire. Now the question is, how does John maximize the building and they go get other players? Because they still don't have enough players. Right. But they've got some talent that's really good. So if you're talking about Young, Scattaboo, and Neighbors and Jackson Dart, of the jobs available, Raiders, and Tennessee, and Miami, and you go through it, the team he left, but who's got a better young nucleus to work with than that?
The only one offensively, especially like you're talking about a trio that I would put close to and maybe above if I really sat down and thought about it, would be Atlanta with Penix, Bijan, and Drake London.
Fair,
but that's the only one I came up with.
but still questions on Penix's health,
Yes,
which concern me.
100%.
That's
Yes.
what Sakes, if you're just talking about raw ability, Pitts and Drake London, you could throw them into one. Pitts is finally elevated to a all-pro level, which we expected. And he's the guy, Segs, when you look at the poster child that when you see him, what a receiver tight end that can do it all and flex out, like from the Antonio Gates, the Kelsey. Pitts looks the part, and he's finally playing the part.
Yeah.
And you got so much bandwidth with him on the field. But him in London, not Drake, with Drake London in Atlanta and Pitts in Atlanta, and neighbors, so you compare that. And then to me, you asked me the question a week or so ago. What back would you take? I said, well, McCaffrey and Saquon Barkley. But in truth, if you're saying the next 5 to 7 years, give me Bijan Robinson. There's no doubt. But right now, and I think it's both Jackson Dart, how he plays a little reckless, is who right now you think 10 years is going to be standing because all the knee injuries and all the injuries Penix has been through. If he's healthy, I trust him. But right now, I think that John looks at it and says, maybe the lack of injuries in his college career gives Jackson Dart a little bit of a head start, and I get that. So you're right, Atlanta. But as far as perimeter goes, not named the quarterback, Atlanta can compete with anybody with those three cats we just mentioned in London, Pitts, and Robinson. And somebody's going to get a good gig there, at least offensively.
For sure.
There's no doubt.
Looking forward, too, for the Giants, they have the 5th overall pick. I saw Dane Brugler's mock draft this morning on The Athletic. He has them taking Jordan Tyson, the wide receiver from Arizona State, who would just give Jackson Dart another great playmaker. I would love that.
One's not enough, Segs. The good ones have 2 at least, right?
Yes, 2 at least. And if you can find that third, if it's a tight end or another wide receiver, it works out even better. But something that will affect the Giants that also happened yesterday after our show was Dante Moore taking his name out of the NFL draft, announcing he's staying at Oregon for another season and basically wants to go get more reps at the college game. Says, he wants to be fully 100% prepared for the NFL when he makes that decision. Now, he was, by all accounts, going to be the first or second quarterback taken, at most likely 1 or 2 or 3. So now this with Dante Moore out, and I'm still kind of here on the Giants, but also on Dante Moore. The Giants now will, have another player that's a non-quarterback, most likely, because I don't see Ty Simpson getting up into the top 5. Maybe he does, but that's just another player off the board for the Giants when they pick 5th. But my question to you is, Dante Moore was pretty much guaranteed to be a top 3 pick, along with Fernando Mendoza,
at least even if he plummeted top 10 or 12, right?
Right.
Even if he had a bad offseason, right?
So he passes on the NFL this year. We'll go back to Oregon. And remember, something that I thought about after was his offensive coordinator, Will Stein, has left. He is at Kentucky now. Now, they bring in Drew Mayringer, who's been on the staff. He was the tight ends coach. He's going to be the offensive coordinator. So at least he knows, and I'm sure the system will stay similar. But, I mean, Will Stein was known as a really good offensive mind. So my question is, do you think Dante Moore made the right decision to stay at Oregon one more year, even with his OC leaving?
The real thing is the Raiola thing too.
I'll hit on that real quick after. Yes.
Yeah, I applaud him for doing something that everybody else wouldn't do. Most of us, if you're going to be a top 3 quarterback taken, which puts you in the top 5 or 6 in the way it is, or 10 at the worst, and he's a good player, is you'd say, I got to go. Forget the NIL money. We say, well, stay an extra year for the NIL money. If you're a first-round pick, NIL ain't paying you what you're about to get paid in that time, right? And you're just not. But you still get it. I admire him for, if this is the reason, he's coming back because, well, the last time they saw him, he got his ass handed to him. So that where he feels like he needs more development, that's saying something, because most guys top 10 picks, they're out, Segs. They're going to go get the money, get started in their pro career, go. So I admire it. And he obviously trusts the Lanning system because he knows he's getting a new coordinator. He knows that they're probably going to bring another quarterback in, as we'll get to in a second. And he's still coming back to get better, chase a national championship, and be more prepared. Didn't say anything about money. He's just more prepared for the NFL game, and the NFL game moves fast. So I applaud him. The right decision, it's the right decision because it's what he wants to do. Now, people, well, what if he gets hurt? Well, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. He may get hurt. I know people say, well, if he got hurt and he's a first-round draft pick, at least they got him under the umbrella and under that, and he just rehabs with them, and they know what he can do, and he can rehab and be back. Well, you can't live your life like that, and he's not. I do applaud him. Makes Oregon better, obviously, having him back another year. So right decision because it's what he wanted to do, and I applaud anybody who has the balls not to chase when he feels he's not prepared. It reminds me of Ben Johnson, the coach. He could have had a job 3 years ago as a head coach, 2 years ago, or last year, and decided to pass it up before. I'm talking about 2 years before he got the Chicago job, and say, and it's another year because he wanted to even get better and be more prepared. And here he is, got his team in the playoffs, and we're in the divisional round, and this is really good shit. So with that in mind, Segs, I applaud Moore for doing this. I do, Dante. I do. That he thinks, and hopefully he'll stay and play great football and won't drop. But either way, he feels it's better for him, and it will be better for his continued development on the NFL level. Surprising, most guys are going to be a top 3 quarterback pick, do not stay. He did, and I applaud him for it. Oregon will be better. Great for college football that he didn't leave because we get another good player going back. This isn't the same as some guy with NIL staying or transferring 6 times and all that. This is a guy who really has him by the short hairs. He's going to start and be a Heisman Trophy candidate, top pick next year if he's healthy. And he's sitting as a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the draft this year, which makes you probably a top 10 pick with all the shitty quarterback play we have at the bottom. So I do applaud him. Whether it's right or wrong, doesn't matter. It's not for us to say. We can judge it 4 years from now and say, well, he was hurt twice in Oregon, and now he was a 3rd-round draft pick, or we can judge it next year. The truth is, even if he got hurt and was a 2nd-round pick next year, or if he didn't play as well, does that mean he's still not more developed and better prepared for the NFL? It doesn't. So for him, the advice, I'm sure they said, well, dude, if you're going to be a first-round pick after vetting it, let's see. But it tells me the kid wants to stay in college and keep playing and get better, and he trusts what Lanning's teaching. Good on him.
And he is just 20 years old, was just a true junior, played his first year at UCLA as a starter, as a true freshman, and then transferred to Oregon, sat the year behind Dylan Gabriel, learned the system, and then this is his first year starting at Oregon, so he will get a second. You mentioned it.
How many guys should have made that decision in their career, Segs, to go back? You think that for the development, a lot of
quite
them.
a few. And while I think it will be a lot easier for kids to make this decision to go back, especially if you're a true junior, you're 20, 21 years old, because of NIL. You're going to go back and make $6-7 million.
And that school's paying, Segs.
Yes.
They're paying money.
So I mean, it's going to make it easier. NIL will make it easier. You mentioned the other guy that we talked about yesterday a little bit, Dylan Raiola, makes the decision to leave Nebraska after 2 years of starting. He is entering his true junior season, and he played much better this year at Nebraska. I just pulled up his numbers, played in 9 games, completed almost 73% of his passes, had 2,000 yards passing, 18 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. So definitely had growth from his true freshman year to his true sophomore year. Now he goes to Oregon, where he will stay and sit behind Dante Moore, who just returned, and he will learn the system and then be Oregon's next quarterback in 2027.
Are they going to have him in uniform, or have we heard if he's going to redshirt? He can play 9 games in redshirt.
Well, yeah, should. If that changes, he's going to be
eligible for 9 games. If he doesn't play, you put him in redshirt him if he wants to, or you start him with. He can buy more time if he wants to, and maybe he needs it.
What people don't even realize because I saw some people tweeting this yesterday, redshirt means you just play in 9 games total. So if they come out and let's say Oregon is the best team in the country and they're going to go to the national championship and play, 16 games now, I think it is. If he doesn't play weeks 1 through 5, he can play all those 9 games all the way up and be the backup. And if Dante Moore gets hurt in the first snap in the national championship, he can step right in and still redshirt if he wants.
If this passes,
yes. If this scenario happens. But do you like the move from Dylan Raiola to say, hey, you know what? I've played for 2 years, but I'm going to go sit a year, and then I'm going to be the starter at Oregon in 2027.
I find it really odd.
I do
that a
too.
guy in his position that has jobs that he can go be the starter now chooses to be a backup. He must really love Oregon and what Dan Lanning and that system's done for quarterbacks, because there's plenty of places Raiola could go and be the guy right now. Just a former 5-star, top quarterback in the country, Georgia, Nebraska, put up good numbers, is getting better, got good DNA, pops and the rest of it in the family. I don't listen. I'm shocked, but we've got two guys that could be starting at Power 4 schools, and Raiola and Longstreet, who are transferring to schools that have that are going to have guys that transferred at different times. Levitt now, Dante Moore from UCLA, and that are supposedly entrenched starters, and they were at their schools, Arizona State and Oregon. And now they're both going to choose to play backup. So are you counting on somebody? Well, I'm here just in case. Was the NIL too good to pass up, or do they both think it's okay? 1 year that guy, then I get this thing for 2 years, and I'm going to be a first-round pick. If that's their thinking, God bless them. I don't have a problem. They've set up. This is Raiola's first transfer. Now people say, well, he transferred from Georgia. No, he didn't. He just decommitted from Georgia. He was committed to Georgia and decided to flip and go to Nebraska. So listen, we bitch all the time about quarterbacks not being ready. You got 2 5-star guys. One's a starter and one we think is going to be great in Longstreet, that are both going to back up with possibly maybe 2 first-rounders next year in Levitt and Dante Moore, and have decided they want to learn the system and get better instead of go start somewhere else at a Power 4 school, playing in the SEC or the Big Ten or somewhere else with a chance to be the guy this year. So if that's the reason, whether it's NIL, but also wanting to learn, why are we bitching about guys staying back and wanting to learn more when we bitch that they're not ready when they go to the NFL in the first place? You see what I'm saying? We're talking out of both sides of our mouth. You've got two 5-star guys that are deciding to go play somewhere that already are paying their starters big NIL money and are going to stay. To me, it's odd, because I'd want to go play. But if the real reason they're transferring and staying and want to be the backup, then I say, well, you afraid to start? I can't think that, because Raiola's been starting, and they're good players. You want the competitive. So I can only think that they really, really want development. But I don't know why, I'm sure I still think, why did Raiola transfer in the first place?
Yeah.
Why? He's the starting quarterback of Nebraska. Does he think Oregon gives a better chance to win the national title? He's right about that. Sure. Or does he just think the passing game needs more elevated and he wants to go somewhere where, well, you're playing on national TV every week, which used to be Nebraska back when I was growing up. So I don't know. I'm not mad at it, but I got a lot of disdain for the transfer portal, but I know it helps people. But in this case, both these guys are leaving to be backups in Longstreet and Raiola. And another one staying as a starter who was going to be a top 10 pick. Lane Kiffin and Dan Lanning have some pull, brother. Yeah. Because they're able to get 2 and keep one that was going to go be a top 10 pick. Maybe we got to find out what the coaches are preaching, because whatever they're preaching, backups, starters that are going to be backup are staying and are transferring to their schools.
And Isaiah says Dante Moore did exactly the same thing. No, it's not the same thing, because Dante Moore left UCLA after a bad season after his freshman season. He started, I think it was 9 games or something like that. His true freshman season at UCLA, struggled in that system, which we all know UCLA has been a mess for a few years now. And
they still are. They still messed up.
They still are.
Right.
And then he transferred to Oregon to sit behind Dylan Gabriel and learn that system. He was just a true sophomore. Dylan Raiola has 22 starts in his career.
Yes.
I mean, he's got more than some guys that go to the NFL draft. He could have went and had another 10, 12, 13 starts this year if he stays healthy. And now you're sitting at 35, and NFL teams are going to say, if you have a good year wherever you went, you could go to the NFL draft. And he's got a good arm. He's a big body kid. He shows he can make some throws. He's got a chance to go to the NFL next year. Now he's got to sit and wait. And honestly, in this era, hope something better doesn't come along to Oregon. Because what if someone else next year is like, you know what, I'm not NFL ready, but I want to go to Oregon. And Dan Lanning, why wouldn't you listen? And if you think, okay, this kid right now is better than Dylan Raiola, let's bring him in.
Well, both programs just got better. LSU, Longstreet, and Levitt 2 new guys, and you just got better offensively. You got deeper.
Mhm.
Oregon, you keep a first-round pick and you bring in a possible future first-round pick, and who was the best quarterback in the country when he came out. So all you've done, if you're Oregon and LSU, is secure a really good position and make it much deeper. Can't blame them either. And Tiger David 35, I have zero idea. USC has been irrelevant since 2003. Great. Not sure who you wake up, guys. Beating the joke teams you have on your schedule, no one respects. I don't know at what point we said that they've been a little bit more than just irrelevant since 2003. But
we don't even hear from USC ever.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm not sure. Did we have that conversation today on the show?
No.
Did any of us? Who's been harder on USC than me?
I didn't mention
Than me.
USC.
So I don't remember any topic today. Now, if it was relevant, fine. Yeah, okay. You think USC's irrelevant? Well, maybe they didn't recruit you when you were coming out of school. I don't know, Tiger Day, but you're right. We haven't been relevant winning national titles. I guess that. I don't know who you root for. Your name's Tiger, so I'm assuming probably LSU or Clemson, 2 good schools. Clemson's been fairly irrelevant since Trevor Lawrence left, but they're still well coached and got good talent. So regardless, I don't disagree with you. We've said it on this show. USC's got to do better, or they're going to continue to win 9 or 10 games and miss out.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure the timing of your comment. Yeah, great. Thumbs up, dude.
Thanks.
USC's irrelevant.
Thanks.
Great. As if we didn't know. Appreciate the Captain Obvious statement, but keep on plugging. But I do appreciate the banter. And I like the fact that apparently USC is not personal to you at all.
No,
Yeah.
no, USC never wronged him.
I'm a bigger critic of USC than you are, Tiger David. Trust me. And unlike you, I actually did play there. So there you go.
All right, moving on to the NFL. Stephen Ross, Dolphins owner, who's currently looking for his next head coach, just hired a GM from the Packers. He says he's been offered $15 billion to sell the Miami Dolphins. He says he's not selling, will keep it in the family, plans on his son-in-law, who, what a great deal for the son-in-law.
What, you get to marry the daughter and get the coin? Hell
yeah, to run the
football
day-to-day
ops.
operations for the Dolphins when he decides he is done. Sean, is there anything in this world you wouldn't sell for $15 billion?
Probably my soul too. I'd probably sell that.
Yeah, that's
too.
what I mean. Anything.
I don't. Probably not my soul, but nobody's offering $15 billion for that. I understand your commitment to the son. The son may very well say, because 15 years from now, maybe worth $25 billion. Segs the way that NFL franchises go up in value. But at some point, enough. Well, $15 billion. What's my cut if you sell Pops-in-law?
Well,
you and my daughter are going to get $4 or $5 billion of it. Great. Sell. I don't need to run a football team that bad. Yes. Great. We haven't won a Super Bowl in Miami for a long time. That $5 billion, I'll put it and gain interest and value, and then I'll buy my own team some other time. I'll buy it back. Oh, sell it. What I'm doing is I'm saying, you want to offer me 15? Here's you can buy it for 20. Because if they want it for 15, Segs, what's $5 billion when you're a billionaire, multiple billionaire, and the value's gonna go up. Commitment. If you're the son-in-law, you think, man, that Pops loves me.
Yeah.
Mr. Ross loves me. Good on him.
Right?
Put it this way: either way, the son-in-law married into a good situation, and the father-in-law, don't fuck that up, son-in-law.
Yeah.
But $15 billion, I'm selling, dude. Especially if I'm tired of the chaos and dealing with athletes or dealing with all the business side of this. $15 billion. I'm asking 20. Give me 18, and it's yours, and you can run the Miami Dolphins. I'm all in.
I saw this yesterday, and I'm glad.
I don't like football that much, Segs.
No,
I don't like football that much. I can watch as a fan, right?
I'll count my billions and watch football at the same time. This story I saw yesterday, and I'm glad Bailey put it on here. How does Tom Brady feel about today's quarterback era versus his own? Here's what Tom Brady had to say.
Is it so hard to find a good QB? I think, kind of in my era of quarterbacks, we had, I would say, more depth and quality than there is now. I think from a physical skill standpoint, there's a lot of kids that are developed. They can throw the ball well. They're athletic. They've trained their whole life. They're strong. But at the same time, there's a process too where they're so focused on their physical skill set, they neglect the mental and emotional skill set as well. And I think that part of why I was really successful over time was I had a baseline of physical skill. I could make any throw on the field. I had enough athleticism in the pocket to move and avoid the rush and buy myself a little time. I was never going to be someone that could get out of the pocket and create these magical plays outside the pocket. But I really learned to use the mental and emotional parts of who I was to elevate my total play style. And I think if you want to be the best you can be, if you want to be truly a peak performer, an elite athlete, you have to be at your best physically, mentally, and emotionally.
Sigs, where have you heard that before? Almost to verbatim. I'm not taking, but have I not always said that the depth was better then? The physical athletes, they got more, they're great, but the physical gets to a point, your head hits the ceiling, you got to bust through mentally and emotionally, dealing with being booed at home, all the things that Tom said. I mean, I can't add to that because I've said it a million. Well, no, you want this guy to play. No, you don't. Physical skills don't mean it's nice. The key is knowing what your weakness is. Tom Brady, forget just his strength. Tom Brady knew what the weakness was and where the floor was, not just the ceiling. And where he was limited on ceiling with physical talent, Tom Brady more than made up with it with the mental and emotional, which means understanding what defenses are trying to do to you, becoming elite and expert in seam coverage, because he knew why. I mean, he worked on his pocket stuff. Tom was never running 4.6. Hell, you'd be lucky to get him at 5.4. But his ability to move, and he got better as he got older because he understood it better. I'm talking about outside the pocket, but that wasn't his strength. He knew it was a weakness, that trying to lean on a crutch of scrambling and not reading in progressions and a mental and emotional side of it. I've said all along, there's a baseline of physical skills you have to have, of course. But the ones that last longer make better decisions and can handle the emotional toil that goes through playing this position. He's spot on. And if it's coming from the best player ever and the best, winner, all of that, he didn't say best athlete. We got a lot of good athletes. There's a difference in being a good athlete and a good quarterback. There is a big difference. And what takes a guy from being a good quarterback to an elite one is when you take the mental and emotional and it matches your great physical skills. We don't have enough of that now because high school, college, they're pulling out the decision-making for the guy and doing it all for him. So they're not prepared mentally and emotionally to deal with a lot of it because, hey, it's half field, throw it to this guy or throw it to that guy. And then when you get to a point where you got to make the decision where to throw it, you don't know how. Mental and emotional is every bit as important as physical at that level, because I am assuming everybody that makes it to the NFL can make the throw. Some get it there a little quicker. For those that don't, you better have some other strength that allows you to get the ball out sooner. But dealing with it's the mental and emotional grind that to me is far more difficult than the physical. You know what you get, the mental and emotional, because you don't really know what game to game, how emotional or mental you're going to get hit in the mouth. How do you respond? We know physically you're getting hit in the mouth every time you show up. It's the other stuff. And Brady mastered the other stuff. There's 25 guys physically more gifted than him. I'm not saying Tom couldn't throw. He could do it all. You got to be able to do some of it. But where Tom dominated you is you got to this level, and then he kept raising his game mentally, emotionally, and quite frankly, football IQ, which still to this day, and I think it's fairly inarguable, he's the best we've ever had play the position. Not the most gifted, the best. And there is a difference.
Yes, for sure. And that leads me to a buddy of mine who does, he's an NFL draft Nick. He loves, ranking. And he put out his top 10 quarterbacks for this coming draft. And this is with Dante Moore. After Dante Moore announced he was going back to school, his top 10, Fernando Mendoza, Heisman winner, 99% he's going to be the number one pick. Then you have Ty Simpson, who we weren't sure if he's going to come out, has had an up and down year at Alabama. We don't know what he is in the NFL.
Dante stands a victory for Ty Simpson.
Yes,
moving up
100%. Then he has Garrett Nussmeier. Then he has Carson Beck, Drew Aller, Trinidad Chambliss, Luke Altmaier, Cole Payton, Cade Klubnik, and Sawyer Robinson. If you need a quarterback coming into this draft, I don't know that the draft is where you're looking for your next starting quarterback, because maybe there's two, in my opinion, and maybe a guy like Carson Beck, given some time in a system, a year or two.
I'm not drafting him in the first round.
No. To me, there's one guaranteed first rounder, and then I think Ty Simpson will work his way into being a first rounder. Other than that, I don't know that there's a day two pick in this.
There's not great depth in this draft. And going in, I think somebody will take a flyer on Klubnik, because I think both he and Nussmeier somehow got mired in. They stayed at the same school all that time and were competing, and coaching changes and grind, and you start to prep. Then some injuries and you're struggling, and maybe the roster is not as good. Neither one of them proved that they can just load you on the back and carry you all the time. But both may end up being long-term better NFL players, even though both had good college careers, not great. We expected both of them to be top 12 or 15 picks going into the season, and both took a step back. They just did, Segs, with performance, but we'll see. But it's not a deep class at the top. It just isn't. Matter of fact, as far as just raw skill set, I'm not so sure Chambliss isn't the third best in this draft. I don't know, depending on what happens with eligibility and all that stuff. But as far as dynamic goes, somebody will fall in love with him. They just will. But to me, it's Mendoza, and then we'll see.
Yeah.
After you study all the tape and go through all the questions and that, it's not a deep class, but could actually, if you draft 3 of these guys between the 2nd and 4th round, they could end up being starters in 3 years. Sakes. Klubnik and Nussmeier played a lot of football, so you never know. And Chambliss, I don't even think we've seen Chambliss' best football. He's still on the rise as far as a kid that's still learning to play.
And we'll talk more as the draft gets closer as I throw my pen. It's hard now, though, for you mentioned like maybe drafting some of these guys in the 3rd, 4th round, and maybe they're a starter in 3 years. GMs just aren't looking for those guys anymore because they don't have 3 to 4 years to wait. So they'd rather take a linebacker or an edge rusher or a wide receiver, whatever other position of need that they think can help them now or even the next year or later in this coming season, more so than, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to draft this guy. And in 3 years, I hope maybe he can be pushing our starter. And maybe, if it comes up in we don't want to pay our starters $60 million a year, this guy's ready to go. I don't know that any GMs are looking like that because they just don't have the time to wait on anybody when it comes to the NFL draft anymore.
What happens is you want to have happen if you don't draft a guy in the 1st round, and like the Saints who haven't since Archie Manning, Segs, all those years we've discussed on here, you're hoping that it works out like that for you. You get Tyler Shook after the 1st round.
Right.
He doesn't play the first half of the season, comes in and plays, and things turn around. And you say, I got a 1st round guy that was drafted after the 1st round. And now, once again, another year will pass. We don't have to draft a 1st rounder. And quite frankly, there's nobody right now that's not Fernando Mendoza that's better that's going into this draft than Tyler Shook, if that makes sense.
Right.
Not just experience. So if he was in this draft, knowing what you know about him now, like 8 games into his career, right? Segs as a starter, whatever it was for Shook, that if you were drafting him now, guess where you'd take him in this draft? For sure, 2nd.
Yeah.
That he would be the 2nd quarterback taken in this draft. Now we don't have the 4th to know, well, how is he going to react in the pros? But knowing what you know now, teams would have taken Shook in the 1st round. The Saints got another guy after the 1st round that's going to be their starter that they think is their future, and now they can use that 1st round pick or whatever on a franchise other player. But you're right, most franchises that are shitty want a guy that can help win now. And they just hit a gold mine with Shook, it appears, and we'll find out if they can get this draft and improve upon what they did late in the season to be competitive pretty much 6-7 straight weeks in who they were playing.
Yeah, and I saw a graphic on Twitter yesterday of the remaining quarterbacks. Bo Nix was drafted the furthest down, obviously outside of Brock Purdy. He was drafted 12th. Everybody else besides Brock Purdy was drafted 1, 2, 3,
You talk about in the playoffs? It's in the playoffs right now?
That's remaining in the playoffs right now. It's all, and then of course there's Brock Purdy, who was Mr. Irrelevant, and
well, it just goes to show you the experts aren't all experts. 31 teams passed on him for 280 picks or 300, whatever it was.
Yeah, whatever it was.
And your throwaway pick was Brock Purdy to the tune of $50+ million and a chance at a Super Bowl, and has already been in one. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out for them as they continue to move forward. But they landed a gold mine on that. That doesn't happen very often, but we've had a couple good ones do some phenomenal things past the 3rd round. That's for damn sure.
And then before we get out of here, Devontae Adams was talking to some Rams teammates about LA, being in LA, playing in LA, and here's what he had to say about this.
Wondering about what would you tell cats on a come up based on your experiences to think about outside of the money? moving forward
Well,
in terms of building
I
that?
already do that now, especially when I talk to these guys, Kanate Mumpfield and some of these guys that are in the receiver room now, even Puka. I say, look, man, I don't care what you seen me do, forcing trades, ending up, playing with a old friend or whatever the case may be. I don't care if it's a coach that you always really wanted to play for. I always tell them the same thing over at this building. I say, hey man, it ain't greener than this. So I jumped around a few different times and tried a few things, but that's truly what my heart told me to do. I made some calculated decisions, with my wife, my family, and even the clubs. Just talking to them, and it was always we always left in a respectful position. I never went in barking in any buildings, going in to the head coach or the owner saying this is what I need, this is how it's going to be. It was always a respectful transaction, and we always dealt with it the right way. But it was something that I felt like I had to do. But just after being here in this Rams facility, this organization, I just let them know, man, it ain't gonna be greener than this. So whatever it is, I don't care what you got to do. Make sure you stay in this building and just appreciate a building like this, because just take my word for it.
You got the
Peace of mind,
Yeah.
comfort, familiarity, happy, joy to go to work. Basically, that's what Davante Adams is saying, is that a couple extra bucks here and there to be miserable isn't worth it. And Puka's the guy, of course he's leaning on him, knows how good he is, saying at some point in time, that's going to rear its head for you.
And
But-
plus you have Sean McVay and Matt Stafford.
And you win.
Or not.
Right.
You know?
Right. And that's why, and Stafford feels like he's got a bunch more years in him, but just everything. I've been in buildings, Segs, that it was like, and I've been in buildings in a much different scenario with money than the Davante Adams or what have you, and not being a first round pick and all that. But when they can make the guy who's not playing, let's move Davante aside, the other guy who's a backup that has a chance to go but stays. When the guy who's the third string tackle loves staying in the building, all guys that are getting paid and happy and winning love it at the time, right? And Davante, we need to you can learn from somebody else's mistake. You don't have to learn from your own. Basically, Davante's telling you, I'm just telling you, dude, I've been in the Raiders facility, I've been in Packers, I've been in the Jets. This is the one. Don't be in too big a hurry to leave, because I know this, when you're not happy, comfortable, joyful, or feel good, it doesn't matter how much money you make. If you're miserable, you want out. It appears to me that Davante Adams not only is glad he got in, but has no intention of playing anywhere else if he can help it the rest of his career. It's a good message, and one that not enough players listen to. He's spot on.
Yeah, 100%. I love that he says the grass is not going to be greener anywhere else. Like, you are here. This is the best place.
Sig, some of that grass you think's greener, it's always dormant. You can't get it green, brother.
Yeah.
When you go to the other place, you try and you just can't. And then you go to a place where the grass was green, and if you're the Rams, you say, well, all Davante did was make it greener, man. He seeded it at the right time. Your spring seed, your fall seed, and your overseed, and boom. And now I got it. And yeah, I'm just telling you, for anybody that's been in the league a while, organizations do differ, as does the chemistry and camaraderie and professionalism in the building. I think he's basically saying this is a pro building, and their results show that.
And unfortunately for you, being a Raiders fan, that is one of the places he was talking about being with his buddy Derek Carr,
and you know what?
College quarterback, and that grass is dead.
I would have, you try loyalty and all that, which is crazy in sports now, but I'm with Devon. As much as I like the Raiders, smart career move to get out of there.
Yeah.
It just is for now. Hopefully it'll change. Would have differed when Stabler and that group was playing, because that was where the vagabonds, not the vagabonds, but the craziness and the wild men who just wore out their welcome somewhere else went, and they reinvented themselves. This Rams team's got this machine going, and the Raiders are headed in the wrong direction and need this fixed.
Yes. All right, time for our bet of the day, Sean. There's no.
We won yesterday.
Games. We
Purdue,
did.
We took Iowa. Purdue 79-72, good game, and got it in 10.5 points. So we both took Iowa, but Purdue to win.
Yep, and now you're a part of this Big Ten with your USC Trojans in this Big Ten and this Big Ten basketball. These officials in the Big Ten are fucking awful.
Had it.
They are terrible. I mean, if you saw some of the calls they made last, there was one where the Iowa defender just ran over, or no, a Purdue defender, excuse me, ran over an Iowa guy trying to do a layup. He blocked his shot, and then the ball goes out of bounds, and the Iowa guy, I'm saying, was not within 3 feet of the ball. When you see the replay, he's not within 3 feet, not 3 inches, 3 feet from the ball, and the ref called it off him and said it was Purdue's basketball. The Big Ten officials almost screwed over, because I had, a good little wager on this game with the Iowa getting the points, and I thought we were going to get screwed by these Big Ten officials that are the worst in the country. And it's not just one group of officials. It's damn near every single official in the Big Ten is just fucking awful. I mean, it's just basketball officials in general, but the Big Ten is bad.
Yeah, you almost have to overcome them to get where you want to go. I know it's a tough job. I don't want it. It's easy for us, but I got news. Some of them, you're like, you can't miss that with a naked eye. That's why you're an expert and get paid. I just want Gene Steratore to ref everything. He was a great NFL referee, a great college basketball referee. I just want Steratore, even now, I don't care. Gene, just stand in the middle and call it, because you seem to have a little bit of an idea. You should be teaching everybody. And by the way, before Segs, you close out and ask the next betting question, Isaiah, you mentioned earlier, I always want to try to get you guys, whether we disagree or agree, and we're having some fun. Tiger Dad, I enjoyed it with you as well. Sean, would you ever entertain viewers calling in? Of course. The only reason we don't now is in the new studio and the hookup of how we get a new studio when we can plug it. I don't want it to be 90 minutes of just call. We got to talk. But yes, I want it to have a little Feinbaum feel when it comes to, listen, once again, we're not the only two that are experts or that think we are. And sometimes we'll admit we're not expert on something, or at least, should we say, prepared and have a passionate opinion. That you can decide if you think it's an expert opinion or not. But there's people that don't get employed by us, what we're doing, that sit at home and watch and have really good expertise on it. We want your advice, and we want the banter, and we want the laugh. So unlike others who keep people off and block them because they disagree, we want good stuff on here. There will be a time in 2026 that obviously, hopefully sooner than later, where we do have the setup to where we can, boom, get a call, boom, click it off. It's just, this is not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So yes, Isaiah, we are going to do that because we see all your comments. We can't get to all of them right away, but we try to engage as much as we can. But I want you guys to have the ability to call in, because it's one thing on text, but when you hear the passion in somebody's voice, the discernment of what's right and what's wrong, we want to hear that. And so yes, we are working towards that, and I appreciate you asking about that.
Yeah, and Isaiah, we'll talk about the big college scandal that broke this morning with the gambling ring in college, and
that's just going to require more than 5 minutes, guys. Yeah,
and even pro games in China. That's how far these gambling rings.
And there's gambling things going on, Segs, that we haven't even uncovered.
Oh
yet.
Yeah.
You college campuses know that as well as I do. I promise you.
Our bet of the day, which I guarantee you we probably don't watch a second of, because I could give a shit, but it's the only thing worth betting, I think, is the Thunder, who are, I mean, if you watch their games, it's like
34-7 or something,
35-7
or something like that.
Watching these guys just foul hunt, not just the Thunder, they do a lot of it, but just everybody in the NBA just foul hunting now makes the game a joke. But they're a 5.5-point favorite over the Houston Rockets. They're in Houston tonight with the number set at 220.5. What do you like in this?
Give me the over.
Okay, over
I
220.
think. But I would tell, I don't know if I have a bet, but I would bet, I'll take the Rockets at 5 plus 5.5. You said, Saves?
Yeah.
Give me the Rockets at home.
Okay. Yeah, I like the over as well. I'll take the Thunder just to be different. Maybe I'll throw a little money on it just because we talked about it today, but I just,
Rockets, I think, are setting in second place in their division right now.
Yeah.
I believe, Saves. So they're good. There's still some things they got to get fixed. Yeah.
Yeah, they sit at 23-14. That's what it was.
Right.
On the season.
That and KD was good because you got a closer as it gets to later in the season. A guy who put the ball in his hand, let him do his thing. And I meant to say this before we leave. Men can't have children. They can't get pregnant, folks.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm a doctor.
Josh Hawley asked me that. Sean, can men get pregnant? The answer is no. There's my doctorate for the day, just so you know. Just wanted to make sure you knew that, Segs. I don't know if you knew that, but I just try to inform. That's all I try to do. Educate, Segs. That's all I try to do.
You know what? I don't know who says they're what, who identifies as what. I mean, you know, maybe
I
I'm coming
identify as a
around.
male.
Maybe I'm coming around to the liberal way of thinking that, you know, if
No, you're not. You're a liar. Don't lie to the people.
A male and you can get pregnant, then men can get pregnant.
So that's what you're saying. And you want men and women's sports just dominate them in a boxing match, right?
Yeah. Just fucking just knock their heads off.
I
mean, let's just maybe
go.
That's the answer. You know what? You want stupid people making these decisions? Put a male in there and just let them hurt them. And then maybe someone will step up and be like, okay, you guys were right. We can't have these women just getting their brains beat in on the basketball floor, whatever it was.
So if I were to say, just curious, if I were to, like, let's say when I played a lot of basketball, right? Was recruited. Let's say at the end of my football career, I said, you know what? I want to go play pro basketball. 6'5", can jump. I'm not going to play football. Could I go play against the women?
Yeah.
Even though not transgender, but like this, say, well, I identify, I identify, can I go play hoops against women or baseball or softball? Can I do that?
We'll send you over to China and you can guard that 7'5" girl that's over there.
Oh, dude, I'd throw so many elbows to, well, it wouldn't be the rib cage, it'd be around the hip.
Yeah.
That's a foot taller than me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. See what kind of game I'm in. Well, maybe we should. Can I go, even though I wouldn't have a chance, can I get just take everything off for a year and have Butch Harmon train me so I can go play against the women on the LPGA tour, even though they'd smoke me? But could I try to make the cut for the U.S. Women's Open?
You got to play in the physical games like basketball or boxing, or you got to do something physical.
Oh, physical, just really wear them out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Unfair. Okay.
Go play in this whatever the hell the 3-on-3 league the women play in is called. I'm blanking on the name.
But do you support me in my ability to do that, Segs? Do you support me?
Yes, 100%.
You champion my cause?
Yeah, it don't matter. You can have children. you can birth them. You can play in women's sports. And I think I'm onto something. I'm gonna start that.
Dude, if you come back in 4 months, if you're coming back in 5 months and you got a bump in your belly and it's not from drinking beer, do you say, Sean, I got to come clean? You were wrong when you you said men can't, and you're like, I'm pregnant. Say, interesting. I guess we were wrong. Science lied all the time, Segs. So
yeah, and
Josh Hawley, thank you for asking a simple question. So
Mike Gundy's, I'm a man. I'm 40.
Can't say that anymore. You might not be a man.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Gundy's a man, but somebody else might not be.
He might
even though you look like one
else now. We don't know.
Yeah.
He might be a pig. I mean, these people are weird. They identify as all kinds of shit.
But the fact that you think you can still tell me that men can get pregnant, and they'll look you right in the face and tell you that, it's baffling to me. It's like I said, it's a Saturday Night Live skit going on every day, dude.
It is.
Women, you deserve better. And you should only have to play against women. Simple. It's a really easy answer.
Yeah. 100%. All right. Tomorrow we'll get you ready for the NFL playoffs. It's Friday tomorrow. We got 4 monster games this weekend, and we'll talk about the scheduling part of it tomorrow as well. I forgot to write it down and
sorry, I ain't going anywhere, Stig.
Yeah,
we'll get that in before Saturday
tomorrow, and we'll get you ready for all these games. Keys. Who do we think needs to step up in these certain games, and who do we think is going to win? We'll pick all 4 as our. We'll do a 4-pack of picks because I'm not picking. Maybe I'll find a couple college basketball games. We'll keep it 6 or whatever. But
USC, as they tell me, has been irrelevant since 2003.
Yeah,
I'm assuming they mean hoops too. I guess.
No one cares about USC anymore. I mean, look, their quarterbacks are leaving and going to LSU
to play backup where they're already a backup. Yeah, it's crazy world we're living in. But God bless them. And Dante Moore, if you feel staying's best for you, good on you, man.
Get over to YouTube, like and subscribe at Unpaved Sean Salisbury. Thanks to Triple E, Laura Bailey. Thanks to all our listeners and viewers and followers on all our social media platforms. We put everything up there every single day for you guys. We will talk to you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central. Peace.
Unpaved Sean Salisbury here. We're bringing authentic, real stuff to you. Hardcore opinion.
Sean Salisbury, great NFL analyst, a former NFL quarterback.